talk briefly about the post Irina debacle here. So one of the thoughts I've heard. What we know is that whether this was an act of nature or not, we do know that storms can be modified. Dr. Bernard Eastland, you just Google that. You got a patent that's decades old. There's Irina was devastating. The hurricane, I think, that hit Miami Beach was probably a 3, maybe 2. I don't know. I'm not that familiar with hurricanes. Certainly, St. Martin got hit with a 5. Cuba, I'm guessing, was 4, maybe 5. Key West, evidently, was a 4. These are devastating rains, devastating winds, and a catastrophic storm surge. In Miami, we dodged a, quote, cannonball, according to its mayor, which is absolutely accurate. So the next question now is, can these storms be modified? You need there's a crucial buzzword here, and you can Google her. It's a Yale grad, and her term is disaster capitalism. Okay, that alludes, if you will, to the fact that we all know that there's a lot of money to be made in warfare. Okay, selling drugs, selling guns, creating wars. World War I, World War II, England, Germany, all right? Whatever angle you approach it at, there's a lot of money. Unfortunately, a lot of people will cause... Just turn on your news. How many great news notifications are you getting on your nightly news? Practically, you're getting a bunch of garbage about people dying and shooting and arguing. That's the constant garbage that we're getting on our news stations. CNN, CBS, NBC, Fox, whatever. Look, Americans, we've got to stand up and put a stop to this garbage. The racial BS that these news outlets are trying to, I feel, are trying to conjure up and get people divided. No divisions. Start uniting against this garbage. All right? Start uplifting one another. That's the only way out of this, is if we uplift one another and build each other. Stop the hatred. Now, you have to start looking into some of this stuff because it's very real. Weather modification is real. I'm not implying that Irina was modified some way. I was right in it. I made my own calculations. There were 3, I'm not sure how many deaths. A few people lost their lives. But the fact of the matter is, you have to start considering, is it a legitimate question to ask? Was it part of, and is it part of something called a weather war? Are we into weather wars? Are the Russians, are other countries now creating systems that can completely and totally devastate civilizations and communities? That's a question you have to be asking yourself. All right? Now, the next thing I want you to look at, and if you've watched my videos, it goes back to the Zika spraying last year in Miami Beach. The spraying for Zika, Dibrom nailed the spraying. The connections and the dots I started making were incredible and mind-blowing. And I'm not pointing sides. You can go to iantrottier.com, INTROTTIER.com. Go to it, look at my guests, look at the people I bring on. I've just brought on another great guest coming on next month. He's going to talk about the reporter that MarkShawBooks.com. Mark Shaw will be joining me. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, I've got some great people, some great guests I'm bringing on. And you need to start looking into the connection that I make with Dibrom and Zika. And it is the Chevron Corporation, majority shareholders, the Rockefellers. I'm not pointing fingers, but I'm just saying what I've been able to uncover. That's all I'm doing. I've uncovered some alarming things. The other thing you need to look at is the fact that when Henry Ford And you might say, why is this even important to me in 2017? Why is it important to me? It's important to you because it's the system that we've inherited. It's the system that we live in. It's reality. And you need to pause from your 9 to 5. You need to pause from the heartaches of your family, your scrapes and bruises. You need to pause and think and figure out that, holy cow, we need to stop a disaster from actually hitting this country. Uphold your Constitution, because your Constitution is getting pelleted. Now, Federal Reserve, Henry Ford, Kuhn Loeb Company. When his company was growing, Kuhn Loeb wanted to he built that company from with his bare hands. They wanted a complete control. When he was asking for loans, they wanted complete control of it. That's when he started publishing a magazine. Yes, he put out a magazine. Google Henry Ford magazine. He started publishing a magazine to expose what the Kuhn Loeb Company was into, and that was international banking and all the stuff that you probably don't want to hear, which is who owns your Federal Reserve. Because if one of you can comment and tell me exactly who owns that Federal Reserve, I'd be impressed. On paper, you're not going to be able to find that anywhere. It's only speculation who owns that Federal Reserve. Why? Because there's nothing federal about it. There's nothing federal about the Federal Reserve. It is a private international banking organization that runs it, and the people that are in it are completely protected. It's unconstitutional from everything I've been able to read. And look, I'm not complaining. This is a very safe country. But are there things we can start to educate ourselves on to make sure that we keep this a safe country? Yes. And we keep our liberties and our justice. Yes, and our freedoms. Yes. And that's my main point. Because some of the things that are happening here, local to where I was in California, that are happening here since I've been in Florida, have my that's my video.
Every day the same.